There is a shape at the end of this tunnel, a human figure, standing in light so bright it has almost erased them. 500 years after this panel was painted, people who come close to dying on operating tables, at the bottom of cold lakes, in the back of ambulances, open their eyes and describe this: a tunnel, a darkness around it, a light at the end, and someone waiting. The man who painted this had no operating tables, no resuscitation, no collected testimonies of the nearly dead. He worked in a small town in the Low Countries around the year 1500, in an age that knew far more about hell than about heaven. And yet, here it is, the tunnel, the light, the figures who wait. So the question almost asks itself: how did Hieronymus Bosch paint the inside of death centuries before anyone could come back to describe it? That's the question everyone asks about this painting, and the answer is stranger than the question. This is the Ascent of the Blessed, one of 4 small panels painted in oil on oak that we group together as the visions of the hereafter. Today, they hang in Venice. Look at how it's built. The bottom is darkness. Naked souls drift in a space with no ground, no horizon, nothing to hold them, and angels carry them upward, so gently they seem almost afraid to let go. The souls have no clothing, no gender, no mark of who they were. Everything that once defined them on earth has simply dissolved. In the world Bosch came from, that was the point. Before God, there is no rich or poor, no man or woman. There is only the soul. And then there is the tunnel. A perfect circle opening in the black, light at its centre, so intense it swallows everything near it. Here's the first strange detail, and once you see it, you can't unsee it. This light is the wrong colour. In the art of Bosch's time, heaven glows gold, warm, radiant, the colour of divine love. But this light is cold, white, almost clinical. It doesn't embrace you, it pulls you. Why would a medieval painter break that rule? Keep that question. We'll come back to it. For most of the last century, almost no one connected this painting to dying. Then, in 1991, a serious art historian named Patrick Reuterswärd wrote what others had only sensed: that this image of a soul rising toward a world of waiting light matches, with uncanny precision, the testimonies of people who have returned from the edge of death. So this isn't a rumour invented on the internet. The resemblance is real enough that scholars have written it down, which makes the mystery worse, not better. Because if the resemblance is real, where did Bosch get it? He never had a near-death experience that anyone recorded. He never read a modern account, because none existed. So we are left with 2 possibilities. Either Bosch saw something himself that he never explained to anyone, or the tunnel was already there, waiting for him, long before he was born. And this is where the floor begins to drop. More than 700 years before Bosch, an English monk recorded a story. A man named Drythelm, said to have died and returned, described being led by a shining angel out of darkness, past torment, toward a place of overwhelming light. The account was written down around the year 731. Then, in 1149, came the vision of Tundale, the story of a knight whose soul is led through the afterlife by an angel, through a dark passage toward radiance. It became one of the most popular stories in medieval Europe, copied, translated, illustrated. Retold for centuries, the guiding angel, the passage through darkness, the graded light, the souls waiting at the threshold. It was all there, centuries before Bosch lifted a brush. But maybe these were distant texts, locked away in monasteries. Maybe Bosch never touched them. So consider one date. In 1484, while Bosch was a working painter, a printed edition of Dante's Journey through the Afterlife appeared in the Dutch language, and it appeared in Hertogenbosch, his own town, the town he was named after. The vision of the soul's passage towards the light wasn't a secret Bosch received in a dream. It was on his doorstep, in his language, in print. Bosch didn't invent this tunnel. He inherited it. And here is something most people never hear. We call this the tunnel to heaven. But look again. Some scholars who have studied these panels believe the tunnel may not lead to heaven at all, but toward purgatory. The in-between, the place of waiting, where the saved are not yet home. We may have been misreading the destination this entire time. Here is what makes this small painting almost unbearable to look at once you know the man who made it. Hieronymus Bosch spent his life painting horror, hell, demons, the torments of the damned, rendered in detail so vivid they still disturb us 5 centuries later. His imagination lived in the fire, and in all of it, in everything of his that survives. This is the one painting where a human destiny does not end in torment. One panel, one time, the only place in his entire surviving world where the darkness opens and a soul is carried gently toward peace. He inherited the tunnel. But he chose, once, to follow it all the way to the light. So let's return to where we started. The dying today describe a tunnel and a light and someone waiting, and we found that Bosch painted exactly that 500 years ago. The easy story is that he saw the future, but the truth is stranger and quieter and somehow larger. Bosch didn't see forward. He was passing something on, a vision that was already 1300 years old when he painted it. A passage out of life that human beings have been describing in monasteries, in chronicles, and now in hospital rooms for as long as we have left records of the dying. The resemblance was never prophecy. It was continuity, the same tunnel, returning century after century in the testimony of people who stood at the edge and came back. We don't know who those figures at the end are. Bosch never told us. Maybe they are angels. Maybe they are the ones who went before us. Maybe that uncertainty is the most honest thing about the painting, because no one who has stood where those souls are standing has ever fully come back to explain it. Bosch didn't paint the future. He painted something humanity has been seeing all along. He was simply the most honest hand that ever held the brush. And the painting is not finished giving up its secrets. These 4 panels may once have surrounded a 5th, a central image, now lost. When the museum hangs them, they leave an empty space where its heart should be. No one knows what filled it. And there is one more question we set aside. This panel carries no signature, while its companions in Venice carry Bosch's name in his own hand, which leaves a quiet, unsettling possibility for another day. But that is a different mystery, and we'll follow it another time.